Hey, Chris, how's it going?
Not bad. So, I have a question.
Yeah.
So, have you ever put a message in a bottle and launched it into the ocean?
I have put a message in a bottle and put it in a cave, a treasure cave once. I didn't do it. A little kid did it. And I paddled into the cave. This is in the British Virgin Islands. It's the same cave that the Treasure Island book was written about.
Oh, that's cool.
And the funny thing is, if you read, and I've been reading a book on like famous discoveries, in 1978, there was $300,000 worth of like gold pulled out of one of these caves.
Wow.
Back then. And this is in a pretty frequented area. It was in the ceiling of the cave.
So did you go in with a metal detector or what?
No, that would have been great. I'm sure 1,000 people have already done that. But I usually paddleboard into this cave, and it's pitch dark. And I think I carry a flashlight in my mouth, and I look around, and I kind of sit there and let the waves hit the back of the cave. And it's like a real relaxing Zenish thing.
So... Okay,
Yeah.
I think I remember I was in these with you, but I think we swam into them.
Yeah.
Are there areas, so there are areas that you can like step on?
Oh,
on
yeah,
land
for sure. Yeah, you can kind of, like at the end of the cave, there's kind of like a beach where all these stones have been pushed up by, over the years, or pushed up to over the years. So I actually got off the paddleboard one day, and I started like kind of walking around back there. There's not much room. It's maybe 5 feet. And I look, and I'm like on a ledge, I see this Corona bottle. And I see the Corona bottle with it wasn't even a cork. It was like a bunch of duct tape stuffed in it and wrapped around.
Was this like a 300-year-old Corona bottle?
Yeah, it was from 1865.
So
It was Blackbeard's Corona bottle that he picked up at the local beer establishment.
Okay.
So it ends up, I grab the Corona bottle. I see there's messages in it. So I'm like, okay, you know what? I'll paddle it out to the boat, read the messages, and I'll put it back, right? So I paddle out to back to our boat. I get on the boat, and I open the bottle up. I pull out the messages, and it's like it was a charter. It was like charter kids, like kids that had chartered, or kids that their parents had chartered a boat.
Okay.
They went into the caves. They thought, hey, this would be cool to put in this bottle, right?
Yeah.
These messages, and
what
put
kind
it
of
in the cave.
messages were they?
Oh, it was just them talking about like, hey, if you find this message, my name is Jake, we're here on a whatever. And they explained their situation and explained, what they were. And then it gave a phone number. If you find this bottle, please text us.
Okay. And where were
So-
they from?
I'm thinking they were East Coast kids.
Okay.
I'm thinking they were from Massachusetts or something like that.
Okay.
So it ends up, I text them from the boat and I send it off. And then I think to myself, I got a bourbon bottle on board. What I'll do is I'll upgrade the messages. I'll put, a new one in that says, if you get this bottle, if you find this bottle, text all of us. And I gave all the phone numbers because some of them were hard to read in the bottle. I gave all the phone numbers again, and I said...
So how many phone numbers were on
there
it
were 4.
There were 4,
yeah.
okay. But
So
they weren't all from Massachusetts? Or
No, there were other kids that were on this same charter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think they were all in the same
They're all
group,
together.
decided they'd go do this.
So you are like number 2 in the generation.
Yeah, right. Okay. So I put my own message in there. I say what we're trying to do and I wanted to see if I could get some critical, people putting messages in this bottle, right? And putting it back.
Did you call them scallywags or anything?
No, I said, yeah, you little, no. I can't even think of a good word for that. It was the booty I found, right?
Okay.
So I put the message back in the bottle. I cork now the bourbon bottle. I tear the label off. I actually let the label soak so I could pull it off and make it look like this bottle here, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And I popped
the
messages
a picture
in.
Of your bottle?
No, that's not my particular bottle. That one was AI generated.
Okay.
And I paddleboard back out. Mm-hmm. I put the bottle back on the ledge with the new bottle and the cork and made sure. And then I left it. And then about 2 months later, I get a text message from someone who had found the bottle.
Okay.
And I said, will you please put the bottle back with a note from you? Yeah. And the person who texted me said, yeah, not a problem.
So do you know where they were from?
I don't. I
they
don't.
track these?
I. You
Okay.
know what? I may have asked, but
Okay.
I don't remember at this point. I mean, this was 4 years ago,
Okay.
and so supposedly he put the bottle back, but never have I heard anything else from anybody who found the bottle.
Okay.
Why? What you got? What you got going?
Well, so there's this cool story about. Here's the.
By the way, I thought mine was a cool story
that
too.
was a very cool story. But so you don't think that bottle exists anymore? Have you been back?
I've been back and it's gone.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's too bad. That would have been fun. That's kind of like the. You ever see those "Where's George" bills?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like kind of like that mentality, like seeing.
Yeah.
So World War I soldiers' message in a bottle found on Australian beach. A message in a bottle found during a beach cleanup in Australia turned out to contain letters from two World War I veterans, soldiers, who launched their bottle 109 years earlier.
Wow.
Let's see, the lady said that she and her family were cleaning up along the shoreline in Wharton Beach when her daughter found a bottle containing letters from Malcolm Alexander Neville and William Kirk Harley.
That is the slowest group text in history, by the way.
Yeah, you're right. Exactly. Let's see, these were soldiers serving in World War I from Australia in 1916. So Neville's letter showed he came from Wickawatt, South Australia. The other guy was from, I'm not sure where the other guy was from.
Yeah, it
But
doesn't
anyways,
say, does it?
But so they actually think that these guys probably threw this bottle out. I think about 400 or 500 miles away. Probably only took a few weeks to land where it's been at, and just kind of washed up on this beach and got covered in sand.
Wouldn't that be more than 400 or 500 miles? Because this guy ends up dying in France
Yeah, he ends up
months later.
Well, so no. So they launched the bottle like kind of in the south central coast of Australia.
Oh.
And then this bottle kind of floats along.
Oh, so it
lands
went
on
from
a beach.
Australia to Australia. I
Yeah,
guess I
yeah.
didn't realize that was the case.
So then, unfortunately, the guy. Let's see. So actually, they said that they reached out to. They found a relative of the Neville guy, his great nephew. The elder Neville was 28 years old when he was killed in action in France just a few months after writing his message in the bottle. Herbie Neville said he knew of his great uncle Malcolm from stories he heard from his aunt, who is now 101 years old.
Wow.
So anyways, that's really cool. And so they, so it didn't travel. It wasn't in the water for 109 years. But they wrote this, and then they found it 109 years later, which is still very cool, So
Yeah.
So I think that's a newsworthy story.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Fun to talk
That 109 years. It's almost like what do you call those safes that they put in the ground?
Oh, like a privy kind of thing or something?
No, where they pull all the data out of it after
time capsule?
Time capsule. Thank you. It's
Right.
like a time capsule in history
It is.
here.
And it's kind of interesting because it was probably on that beach for probably 108 years.
Right.
And no one
About time
actually
they
knew
clean
about
up
it,
their
right?
act, right?
And that's the thing with shifting sands, right? It comes and it goes, and so yeah, so anyways,
Yeah.
a little different than your story, but so if you were to do it now, if you were to throw a message in the bottle, what would your message in the bottle say?
Well, mine would say, "Dear future person, if you're reading this, we either solved climate change or you're snorkeling in Milwaukee."
Right? Call your grandparents. And compare notes for what was going on at the time, right?
Yeah.
So that is interesting, and I've seen stories before, like off of Cape Cod, where like someone would launch a bottle it end up in Ireland or something like that.
I've heard those things too.
I saw one actually where they launched it, I think, from Orleans, Massachusetts, which is part of Cape Cod, and it ended up like in Jacksonville, Florida.
Oh, really?
So it just kind of swung around. It kind of followed the pattern that a lot of sharks do, you know. So.
The tides. Maybe a shark took it.
Right, exactly. So, anyways,
Yeah.
that was kind of a fun little story I thought I'd bring up. And so here's another one that's interesting from Turkey.
Turkey.
So.
Not Thanksgiving, but Turkey, the country.
Right. And you know, you would think that American divorces are complicated. Here's a guy.
Yeah.
Man agrees to pay cat support for up to 10 years following a divorce.
Boy.
As part of a divorce agreement with his ex-wife, a Turkish man has agreed to pay up to 10,000 liras, which is about $240, every 3 months as child support for their 2 cats. Bugrabi, who lives in Istanbul,
Which is not Constantinople.
Right, no longer. Filed for mutually agreed upon divorce from his wife. Ezgi, her name is?
Would we call this catamony?
Catamony, right? Citing severe incompatibility and a breakdown of the foundation of their marriage.
Who sues for this?
The 2 parties have agreed to end their marriage and have not sought any compensation or alimony from each other, but they did include a rather peculiar protocol in their divorce filing, which could impact the future divorces of pet-owning couples. The document states that the husband transfers custody of their 2 cats to his wife, or ex-wife obviously, and assumes financial obligations for their maintenance. So there you go.
Well, that is a, and I've been through a divorce. Chris, not so much, but, I can understand paying for kids, but for your cat or your pet, I mean, you're kind of choosing to keep that.
This guy was probably pretty excited to just break away from it all.
Yeah, he should have done what I did, had 50-50 split custody, and then he wouldn't have had to pay anything.
Right? You get the cats on A week, and I take them on B week.
Right.
Share them during the holidays.
Yeah.
But so anyways, the wife gets it, ex-wife gets it, and J.D. Vance
like
would
she
call
gets
her cat lady.
Like she gets whacked?
Yeah.
No, gets the cat.
Gets the cat.
I'd say the cat would have to get whacked.
I mean, cats, I don't know. I have a
I am
hard
not a
time
cat
digging
person.
Cats and, dogs show unconditional love. So I could kind of see someone say, you know what, I want to make sure
Just ask my wife.
Fido is taken care of,
Yeah.
What's that?
No, my wife and her unconditional love dog.
For her bulldog, right?
Yep. He's and I know what now puppy love, when they talk about puppy love, is because he looks at her like she is just the
greatest thing on earth.
Oh my gosh, yeah, you're not even kidding.
How about you?
No, he looks at me like I'm a meal ticket.
Just kind of like your kids do, don't they?
Yeah, I think my kids do too. Actually, I think my wife does too. Oh man, I'm telling you.
Then I saw this other news story that was funny.
What's that?
So some guy takes his pet monkey, into a Halloween store down in
I'm
Texas,
really sorry I did that.
Plano, Texas. So
Just kidding.
monkey gets loose inside Spirit Halloween store in Texas.
Why would you take your monkey anywhere?
Why are you carrying him around? I mean, I guess you don't want him sitting in a hot car, but yeah. So
is there going to be a monkey mode on the Tesla now?
Right?
Like, hey, you got a monkey mode.
Monkey
Quick.
mode. Right? You got a pet mode, isn't there? Like
There's a
pet
dog
mode
mode on it. Yeah, and it says like
Uh-huh.
it puts on the big screen. Don't worry about me. It's 70 degrees in here.
I got the windows cracked and I'm blowing 70
No, it doesn't
degrees.
even crack the windows. It just turns on the air the whole time. So
And it turns on the internal camera so you can check in on it.
yeah,
Right?
I don't know. I've never tried it.
I think that's part of what it does.
See, if it was me, I'd go back to the cat story. I'd go, hey, I'm taking her out in the Tesla. And then I'd put her in the back of the Tesla and I'd put it down to like, no, I'm not going to say it. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding for any of you cat
I'm
owners.
going to get out of this 240.
Or maybe I'd do it to the lady and put her in the back and say, hey, it's negative 40 degrees in here.
Right. Let's test absolute zero. So a pet monkey got loose from its owner at a Spirit Halloween store in Texas and spent more than 30 minutes swinging from the rafters and poles. You know, I saw this video, and this thing looked like it was having the time of its life.
I'm gonna have to watch this
video. It was like a
video.
massive jungle gym for this monkey, which, you know, maybe, who knows what kind of environment he lives.
Maybe he was just
at
having a
his
good
house.
time.
He was having a very good time. And let's see. Arlene Pinkston said she and her daughters were shopping at the Halloween store in Plano when they spotted the monkey. My daughter looked up and said, "What in the world?" And she's like, "Is that a real monkey?" I looked up and said, "Well, it's got a diaper, so I guess it's real."
Wearing a diaper.
So at least it had a diaper,
Yeah.
so it couldn't do any droppings on the people.
Yeah.
Pinkston recorded the video of the monkey running and swinging loose through the store. The Spirit Halloween employee Jimmy Harris said the monkey was
Good old
apparently
Jimmy.
spooked by an animatronic display and fled from its owner.
Who hasn't been?
But yeah, so I don't know how this guy was, you know, if he was just like carrying it, if it was on a leash or what, you know.
I'm telling you. So did you see that he lured it back with a cookie?
Yeah,
I'm
right?
still mesmerized by the cookie. You know, my wife goes, "Here's a cookie. Go do this."
Cookie, round and sweet and delicious.
Yes, crunchy.
All right. A Plano police officer responded to the store toward the end of the monkey's time on the loose. He observed the monkey swinging from the rafters wearing a diaper. Police said in a statement, eventually a cookie was offered to the monkey by the owner and was able to gain control of it. Police said the monkey was not injured and did not pose any danger to the store's human customers.
Well, that's a pretty interesting story.
I mean, he's in a Halloween store. You know, it's like he could be like, "I'm going to dress up like a human this year."
Yeah,
So-
I tell you, you
But
know,
sometimes monkeys. I mean, obviously, I don't know if it was like a spider monkey or whatever. It was a friendly monkey.
some of them are
Some of them,
mean
you hear
as
about
hell.
this, like in the streets of India. Where
Oh,
they, like,
man,
just come up
yeah.
and attack you. and
Yeah,
stuff.
no, I've been around some in other countries
You
that
have?
I'm like, yeah, you're just like, stay away from the freaking monkeys.
Florida has a place called Monkey Island or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah, somewhere down around Miami. Yeah, I've never been there, obviously.
Never heard of it.
Yeah.
You know what? Actually, maybe I have heard of it.
Yeah, I'm going to look it up real quickly while we talk.
Monkey Island.
And it's a tourist attraction.
There's a lot of crazy stuff in Florida.
Monkeyland Safari and Coffee Plantation Tour. Monkey
Ooh.
Island.
By the way, now that we're talking about monkeys
Uh-huh.
and we're talking about an island and coffee,
Yeah.
did you ever hear about like the best coffee bean is like a bean that goes through a monkey's like its dietary tract and then
Really?
gets pushed out
Gets pushed
the
out.
ass end of it,
Really?
and then they make it into this coffee, and it's supposed to be like the best coffee ever.
Wow.
That might be a following up.
That's an interesting time. That's really interesting. I mean,
And supposedly
like-
this stuff is really expensive.
so you guys sit around with a bunch of monkeys that eat this, and then like the digestive enzymes. or
Yeah, they work on the
whatever
bean, and by the time the
add this
bean comes
flavor.
out, it's like
Right.
it's like a better bean.
And I was impressed when I got like French vanilla beans or something.
Yeah, well, I can tell you, I think all Starbucks beans taste like ass.
Yeah.
So
So wow, that's interesting. But I mean, these things must be really expensive because it can't be easy to farm coffee beans that come out of a monkey.
yeah, they are. They're not cheap. They're
Right.
expensive. Yeah, you'll have to look that up. Maybe we'll do that in another show on that.
Kind of reminds me of there's like I think once I heard like I saw the story that was talking about like imitation vanilla, and then I could be a little off in my details, but it was saying that part of the ingredients is that they use a chemical extracted from beaver dung as in the imitation vanilla. And I'm just like, how do you chase down beaver dung and test it out to like find out that it works like this, right?
Like,
And it's like,
or I mean, isn't that the case, right? Like, who was the first guy who said this? Like, hey, you know what? You know what looks good? Coffee beans out of monkey's ass.
I know, right?
You know, that to me, I'm like, I don't look at a monkey's ass and go, yeah, I want a bean out of that thing, you know?
Right. Exactly. It's
Yeah.
like
Kind of like that red velvet cake. You know, the red dye in it is
Right.
actually from bugs.
It's from bugs.
Yep.
I think M&Ms have something like that too.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah,
I like
the hard
M&Ms.
casing on it.
I could use an M&M right now. Anybody
So-
want to send me an M&M?
Right,
You feel
yeah.
free.
But so it's interesting with the red dye though. Now I think most of the companies now with the Maha movement,
Uh-huh.
I think a lot of them are swearing off these certain red dyes.
Oh, really?
Maybe that's one of them.
Yeah.
You know,
I remember seeing something on TV or something about it. But
that's pretty interesting.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
So let's see, what else do we have here today?
Well,
Oh, there's this great story out of Massachusetts.
Massachusetts. Seems like a lot of stories come out of
Right.
Massachusetts.
This is the craziest story that I've seen in a while.
What do we got?
So this guy who was like a deputy director for the western region of Massachusetts for Maura Healey, the governor of Massachusetts, gets busted trafficking cocaine. And so here's a quick summary.
Okay.
So, I mean, this is crazy. This guy's got like this, I think, $115,000 a year job, you know, working for the governor. You know, he gets these certain awards and everything for his positions and stuff. And he's like dealing
'Cause he's
drugs
that
also.
good.
And so it's,
Well, you know, you got to
So-
supplement your income sometimes when it's not a two-person working family. You know,
right?
you need to make a little extra cashola.
Exactly.
You know.
So, so on October 28th, I'm not going to use the guy's name. This guy was arrested in Springfield following a months-long investigation by the Massachusetts State Police and federal agencies. Authorities alleged he trafficked over 200 grams of cocaine, with reports of up to 8 kilograms delivered to the governor's regional office in Springfield.
Well,
So-
maybe the governor needed cocaine. Did we
Yeah,
ever
so-
think about this?
yeah.
Though, like the White House needed cocaine. Never could
Yeah.
figure out who that is with all the cameras in the White House. I'm calling bullshit.
This guy had balls, you know, more than 8 balls, you know.
Yeah.
Or speed balls or whatever they call
Yeah,
it.
I think you're right. I think it was an
Yeah.
8-ball.
So he had this stuff delivered to his office at the regional office, but he also had it delivered in other places too. So, anyways, with reports of up to 8 kilograms delivered to the governor's regional office and possessed an unlawful firearm during the arrest stemming from a traffic stop. Cook presented a Georgia driver license despite being a Massachusetts resident for the last 3 years. So obviously you're supposed to change your driver's license when you
He
when you
didn't
move,
even have a driver's
So-
license that was valid then.
which led to an additional citation for unlicensed operation of a motor vehicle. He pleaded not guilty to the charges during the arraignment.
It ain't my cocaine.
The Healey administration fired him immediately. But so he had all this cocaine delivered to the governor's office, the Western District office. But then this guy was like running before he was working for the governor. He was like this manager, director of this state-run hotel by UMass Amherst, I guess.
Really?
So he was having stuff delivered there, which would get delivered to the UPS room or the delivery room, and he still had access to the place. So he'd have it delivered under a fake name. He'd go there and pick them up, and he's caught on camera picking up these packages, even though he's obviously not the manager of this hotel anymore. And so it was something like, it was over like 40 pounds of cocaine.
Wow.
And so this is just like, I mean, you know, and the guy's got these awards for being, you know, he was a minority, and they gave him like Juneteenth awards and different things.
Wonderful.
And the guy's just,
He's a wonderful guy.
Just another scumbag,
Scumbag
government
politician.
employee, you know. So the guts, the balls, you know, to like have all this stuff done and to jeopardize.
He probably thought that if he was sending it to like that office,
right.
that he isn't going to get caught because who's going to check shit coming in there?
You know, and I was reading details on the article, and they were saying, well, you know, we tracked one to like North Atlanta, then it got routed through like Kentucky or something, and when it was in Kentucky, like the feds like kind of detected it.
Okay.
And so I think that's when they started, so he's having this stuff shipped from northern Florida and Georgia. And so then all of a sudden, like the feds were like tracking it for, I think, at least a month or so. And then they cracked down on it. Then they like got enough evidence to arrest the guy. And so, in Massachusetts, I swear there are a lot of political hacks who get busted because, we talk about this people are talking about gerrymandering these days. Massachusetts voted about 40% for Donald Trump, but has 0 representatives in Congress. It's like, some of these states say, oh, we're underrepresented. Think about something like that, that's just corrupt. It's total corruption. And so they get all the power and then they try to get by unchecked. But they, a lot of times you see people get busted. And because, 40% of the state being Republican, they're not going to get away. If it was like 80 or 90%, they probably could get away.
Right.
But there are enough watchdogs ready to call people out. Even though it was the feds and this guy's own brazenness that got him busted. But,
Right.
So, people think that Massachusetts is just this loony lefty place that had, people like Barney Frank and Ted Kennedy and the Indian Elizabeth Warren and
The Indian.
and the fake Indian.
Was that known to be Indian?
What's that?
What percentage of her?
It was like 1/1000th or something when they did the 23andMe.
I would bet I'm Indian too.
Right? It's like if you get back that far, but she,
Yeah.
at the time she was
Enough about her.
Well, our family said that we were because we had high cheekbones for whatever that means, and so. Anyways, enough with that.
Yeah.
But I always like to talk to people and say, well, Massachusetts really does have a lot of conservatives, and it also has conservative Democrats. It's not all just these goofy people. I mean, you get this concentration in Boston where there's so many universities where people don't live in reality,
Right.
and that's where you get like all the loonies. But you think about it, like from 1990 through like maybe to the end of Mitt Romney, which was probably around 2010, something like that. It was all Republican governors, I think,
Sure.
for Massachusetts. Because after Dukakis came William Weld and a handful of other ones. But these Republicans kept on winning, and then there was Charlie Baker too after Mitt Romney. But these guys weren't Trump, they weren't
Right.
Newt Gingrich or anything, but they were able to like pick up enough of the people in the middle,
Right.
and there was enough conservative vote. Anyways, so actually, since we're talking about Massachusetts,
Okay.
it'll be
What do you
interesting to see how this thing comes up, because this just the one last note on this case, because in Massachusetts, some people plead. Different states have different ways that people can plead to charges. And in Massachusetts, I don't know exactly. I've never had to plead anything. But, it seems like you either plead guilty or not guilty. And it seems like everyone pleads not guilty so they can kind of work the system and try to...
Until they get a
charges
deal.
reduced.
Yeah.
Because, like in Wisconsin, you can plead no contest to stuff or whatever.
Yeah, right.
And just get it.
It's either
get
black or
acceptance.
white there at the beginning.
Right, exactly.
Right.
So anyways, the last show we did, you're from Florida, if or when.
Yeah.
So I pulled up some stuff on Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
And so, wicked is an adverb, not a music, and pissa means something great. Wicked pissa.
Pissa.
I actually have a sticker on my refrigerator that says that. They sell them. Dunkin' Donuts is a food pyramid all on its own. And I have to say, you've never seen devotion to something like to a product like you've seen Massachusetts folks with Dunkin'.
Yeah.
And I've seen them in Florida. I've met people in Massachusetts.
They
Florida,
are. I mean, Dunkin' is huge there.
and, like Virginia or North Carolina or something like that. I mean, it's like I've seen Massachusetts people and they're just like relieved. They walk in, they're like, I didn't think I'd ever be able to find a Dunkin' around here.
Uh,
It's just like, and it's not necessarily the donuts; it's the coffee, which I'm not a connoisseur of coffee.
their coffee sucks too.
Yeah, so,
Starbucks,
yeah.
Dunkin', you guys.
You don't like that?
You know what? The coffee that's good is coffee out of a monkey's ass.
Coffee, you can't beat that.
You can't beat that.
Yeah, but maybe
Hands down. I mean, butts down. That's the best coffee
But
you
maybe
can
it
get.
depends if it's like the Asian monkey or the African.
Yeah, I don't know.
South
I don't know.
But it is funny seeing I mean, Dunkin' was started I think in Quincy, Mass, in the 50s maybe by a guy who was quoted as saying, "I'm gonna sell a 10-cent cup of coffee for 5 cents," and so
Right.
you know.
Right.
But my kids sure loved Dunkin' growing up. I'll say that much. They were obsessed with it, but they were obsessed with the donuts.
You know what?
kid isn't.
I'm obsessed with donuts, although I don't eat them anymore, but they sure look and smell great.
Yeah, so it's I mean they sure make some fun ones too. So
Yeah.
you say bubbler for water fountain, and
Well-
actually it would be bubbla
Babla.
for water fountain, and rotary for traffic circle, confusing everyone. So
Yeah,
Wisconsin says bubbler.
yeah, we say bubble. Well,
And
supposedly,
so-
I don't say bubble. I'm not from here, but
But then rotary, I mean, that's kind of, so it's rotary or it's roundabout. or
Roundabout.
traffic circle, right?
Yeah.
It's like, there are 3 ways to say it, but yeah, in Massachusetts, everything's rotary. And I don't know if they use it, if they say that and other things. I always look at them as rotaries, but never really had that conversation
I always
with people.
say roundabout.
Roundabout. I remember in England, that's how they would say it.
Yeah,
Shoveling snow is your cardio.
yeah, been
And
there.
plowing your driveway at 5 a.m. is just Tuesday. That's the worst, right?
Yeah,
Getting up at 5 in the morning in the middle of winter to clear
just to get your
snow.
car out of the
Yeah.
garage.
Yeah, so Red Sox are your religion, Fenway is your church, and a curse breaking win is your miracle. And so I don't think that the Sox are as
Popular as they
popular
used to be.
Yeah, because
Yeah. I'm wondering if sports in general is getting less and less popular. I'm not a big sports fanatic.
Tom Brady, though, I think really changed a lot. So, and it's funny because I remember, I swear, I don't know, when the Pats got on this big kick, the New England Patriots, they were on a 20-game streak over 2 seasons or something.
Yeah.
And that was secondary to the off-season news for the Red Sox. And but Tom Brady made that team really popular, I think, and he became a superstar. Obviously, people can talk about Deflategate or whatever, but
Yeah.
but he could do no wrong for the folks in New England, that's for sure. So,
Yeah. He definitely walked on water.
So
Would drive 80 miles an hour in a 65 zone.
right, and we kind of talked about this. It's people drive fast in Massachusetts. Let's see, you drive 80 miles an hour in a 65 zone, but flip out over someone not using the blinker.
I have to tell you, the blinker thing pisses me off too, especially when I'm waiting at a stop sign
Uh-huh.
and the guy's slowing down, and then it's like he turns.
Right.
I'm like, where's the freaking blinker?
Right. I know it is a courtesy, but it's also a safety thing, right? Because it's good to
Right.
let people know what your intentions are. And
Right,
so,
right.
yeah, let's see.
Harvard is pronounced as Harvard,
Harvard. Yeah.
and MIT is just a backup school.
I don't know. I think these days
MIT is better than
MIT
Harvard.
would be my preference. That's
Yeah.
for sure. So
You can keep Harvard.
so lobster rolls are a salad, and anything under $20 feels like robbery. So
Oh man, lobster rolls are good.
yeah, and the standard price about $25, but I remember at one point even McDonald's had lobster rolls, and you could buy them for $8
I
or
remember
$9 or
that.
something.
Yeah,
I
lobster.
think you and I were in Connecticut.
I'm pretty
or
sure
something.
we've seen that.
And,
you and I.
Yeah, now that, and so I remember my grandmother was really excited about these lobster rolls at McDonald's, and there's a fast food sub chain that has lobster rolls for a reasonable price.
Who's
They
that?
Cost more at D'Angelo's,
Oh,
and they're a chain, Massachusetts chain, or they're probably outside of Massachusetts. But
Okay.
anyways, but they have decent lobster roll subs. So let's see. The Cape means one thing, and getting there without hitting traffic is a myth. Well, for the most part.
Yeah.
You go in March, it's not so bad.
I always go at night.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
If I got to go out
11
there.
o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Let's see.
You root for the Patriots like it's blood oath, and Brady's exit still stings.
Right? So,
Yeah.
And this is the one that a lot of people love. Masshole is a badge of honor, not an insult, especially on the pike. So it's true. You call someone from Massachusetts a masshole. It's kind of a fun thing to say. And so everyone knows that New England clam chowder is it has the creamy broth. Manhattan is the tomato-based broth. All the stops on the T by Heart. Well, that's if you're in Boston. It's winter starts in October and ends in May, with spring being a cruel April.
That's
joke.
exactly how it is here.
And so, with Massachusetts, a lot of it, Boston, especially once you get to Worcester and you get west,
Worcester.
the higher elevations. You do. I mean, it gets cold. There have been times that I've left Cape Cod. It'd be like 60 degrees driving across the state. I get up to the Berkshire area. It's like 28 degrees. And it could be like October or something. So it gets cold. I mean, it definitely gets cold. You get a lot of snow.
Yeah.
And so in general, that kind of holds true. I always think that in Cape Cod, you can have like 40-degree weather like every day, like January, February, March, April, just because a lot of it's based on the water. You're surrounded by water for the most part. And
you used to say that.
So let's see. Sam's Club-sized Sam Adams packs are normal, and craft beer snobbery is a state sport. So it's kind of funny that they mentioned Sam's Club-sized Sam Adams, because we just read something that said that Sam's Club wasn't in Massachusetts. But I know that Costco's there, but BJ's definitely is kind of like the wholesale club for Massachusetts. And here you go. Here are some pronunciations. You pronounce Worcester. You say Worcester. You say Quincy without blinking. But then there's also like Peabody and other things.
P. Diddy?
Gloucester.
Did you say P. Diddy?
No. Peabody. Instead of people look at it as like Peabody, they say Peabody. And so
Peabody. That sounds like you're hitting Peabody.
Yeah, so they say Quincy instead of Quincy. Yeah, and Worcester instead of Worcester, or however you would say it. So,
Worcester.
Let's see. The Big Dig is ancient history, but you still complain about the tunnels flooding.
I complain about it.
Right?
I complain about the tunnel.
Yeah, I mean, that was the thing. It was like, John Kerry was famously on record saying this, it was like at $2 billion or $5 billion, this tunnel's going to be a bargain. And then it ends up being $26 billion and way overrun in times and stuff like that.
He'll cover the extra.
So, yeah, right? Let's see. Let's see what else we have. I'm just kind of zipping through.
Yeah, Election Day feels like a holiday. Still mad about still mad about that one recount. If I politically speaking.
Where is this? What are you talking about?
It's just one of the things on Massachusetts.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Everyone knows someone who went to UMass, whether it's Amherst, Boston, Lowell, Dartmouth, Worcester, or Springfield. Everyone and their mother went to UMass. I have a cousin who went to UMass. Yeah. Let's see. Relax. Wicked is a good thing. I think we already talked about.
Yeah.
New York has a subway. Massachusetts has the T. It's funny they should talk about how Yankees are evil in here or something. So, let's see. Are there any other good ones here? I bet there are. It's the Cape, not Cape Cod. The vineyard is Martha's Vineyard. Let's see. A hoagie is a long sandwich. Long sandwiches are grinders, not hoagies or subs.
Hoagie. Grinder?
End of discussion.
I don't use either of those. I go sub.
You say sub?
Yeah.
And that's what I usually say. Let's see. Anything else? You know how to cross 4 lanes of traffic in 5 seconds?
That happens here too.
Yeah, that is pretty funny how you can like just zip across. But once again, a lot of times, if you have your directional on, a lot of people open up for you. So
Right.
that's my feeling about I think this is kind of funny. And this is kind of dated. It says a Crown Victoria equals undercover cop. So you and I once were in a Crown Vic.
Yeah.
And we were driving through a bad area. And
that was at the witch trial.
it was towards that, up towards Salem.
Salem,
We were in like Lynn or something like that.
Yeah.
And but we were driving through a bad neighborhood, and you saw the people on the street kind of scatter like cockroaches because they see a Crown Vic coming, and they were worried that it was a cop, and they were just fleeing. Right? It's like,
And we got out of the car, and some girl walking by goes, like we don't know they're cops.
they're cops, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 5-0, honey.
Yeah.
So, you think of Rhode Island as the Deep South, which is kind of funny. I mean, some people, there's so much to do in New England and Massachusetts. I think a lot of people do travel, but for those who don't travel, I do remember talking to one of my cousins once, and she was telling me, yeah, so we're going to fly to Denver. I've never been west of like Albany or something it was. And she was like, yeah, we thought we'd go to Colorado, then Utah, and then, whatever. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you realize these are, because driving from like Boston to like Providence is like, 40 miles maybe. I
Right.
don't know, maybe less. And so, Rhode Island is like 28 square miles or something.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, these states are bigger, you can't just like zip over. I'm going to just drive over to Utah. It'd probably take me an hour or two or whatever.
Yeah,
It's
right.
like,
Right.
Instead it takes you like 9-10 hours
Yeah.
or whatever. So this is funny, kind of on that same thing. Anything past Worcester is the middle of nowhere if you live in Boston. Let's see.
You think Philadelphia is the Midwest?
Midwest, right? It is west, it is, Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania.
6 inches of snow is considered a dusting.
That does. Yeah, you get a lot of snow in Massachusetts, that's for sure. You get a lot of rain, in other states, especially like in eastern Mass. In Cape Cod, you get rain. You get a lot of rain. You get a couple inches of rain in an hour, but everything's all sand, and it just kind of zips through the soil.
Right.
But you get in places like the Midwest or, most places.
It sticks.
And you got clay and the stuff just pools, then it's got nowhere to go. And so, but you definitely get, you get those nor'easters and other heavy rains and snows that come off. Let's see. 3 days of 90 degrees heat is definitely a heat wave.
That's a heat wave here too.
And 63 degrees ocean is on the warm side. And so, in Boston, it gets hot, which is funny. I don't know for sure, but I've seen it where it's like, it'll be 90 degrees in Boston, but it'll be like 65, 75 in Cape Cod. And, once again, it's because it's driven by the water.
Yeah, right.
$15 to park is a bargain, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, you haven't felt pain until you see like $25 an hour or whatever, things like that. Yeah, let's see. That's why it's always good to take the T when you're going into town. It makes life a lot less stressful if you can, as long as it can drop you off where you.
And this would be me. You cringe every time you hear an actor and an actress or an idiot on a podcast initiate the Boston accent. The Boston accent on TV or on a movie or we'll make this podcast.
Right.
Yeah.
That's kind of like how I remember asking a Brit one day, so what do you think of Austin Powers' accent? She wasn't impressed by it.
You know what I found out you never say to a Brit?
What?
Are you from Australia?
Oh, yeah. Good day, matey.
I go, are you from Australia? No, I'm not from Australia. Oh my God, yeah,
Crikey.
that's funny.
So, at the ice cream shop, you call chocolate sprinkles Jimmy's. I mean, I think a lot of people do that. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, I've just kind of heard of that lately.
Let's see. No. You think, oh, you're way ahead of me here.
Yeah, I was jumping.
Just hearing the words New York puts you in an angry mood. And that is so true. You know, it's like in Wisconsin, Chicago, you got this, cheesehead, Bears fan kind of rivalry. You know, it's like this kind of like animosity against, but maybe not that bad of animosity. Some of these sports fans just drive me crazy. You know, they get so bent out of shape over this stuff. I remember just hearing one story, and this was in Falmouth, which is Cape Cod. Like, it was the 4th of July. Some guys walking around with the Yankee. You know, in summertime, half the folks running around Cape Cod are from New York. And some, guys at like a 4th of July, like fireworks display or something.
Sure.
He's got his Yankees gear on, which you think that you would accept that, being in an area.
And they want to kick his butt.
Flooded, and these folks provide lots of money to the local economy. And he gets attacked by a guy with a baseball bat or a golf club just because he's got. It's just like, chill. Then you hear about these Boston fans. They go down to Brooklyn to watch the Red Sox play the Yankees, and all of a sudden they're just like massively
big
attacked,
breakout.
physically attacked. It's like, man, you guys need something.
You take it a little too serious.
Something else to worry about, I like this. You don't realize that you walk and talk twice as fast as everyone else.
Oh man, you're not kidding.
It's just, you're kind of on the go and stuff. If you're running around Boston, if you're elsewhere, maybe not so much. So, anyways, I guess those are the
highlights of Massachusetts. Our mass hole friends.
I think I saw one once that was so true that said you drive down the same street for 3 blocks, but you have 3 different street names, a different name on each block, which is so true. And you kind of mentioned that Boston's an easy city to get lost in because of the way it just kind of formed.
The layout sucks.
The Midwest, the West gets these grid patterns.
Yeah,
which
north, east, west,
everything's
south.
1 mile grids and stuff like that. But the way Massachusetts works, and then everything gets so densely populated, you can lose GPS signal.
Yeah.
Before Garmin was big, I remember everyone had these like big map books. You remember those big yellow map books?
Atlas.
Yeah, and they're like wire bound, and it's like, okay, I'm in this little like neighborhood, and
I got to go up
on this.
Whatever. God, right? Thank God for GPS, man.
I know.
Thank God. My wife would never be able to get out of the neighborhood if it wasn't for GPS.
Trying to be like an Uber driver or a Amazon delivery guy without GPS would be.
Oh, it'd be hell.
It would be hell. And you know what? That's where their drones would really come in handy, right? I mean, it's
right.
Like, there's one other story I wanted to talk about. Let me pull that up. So this is just kind of an interesting thing of what's going down in AI land, where all of a sudden AI, you're starting to see situations where there really is AI is really taking a bite out of jobs.
Yeah.
Because Amazon just recently released. Did you hear about Amazon? Amazon's looking at
the automation.
Getting rid of
75%. They want to be 75% automated by 2030, if I remember right. If I remember the number.
Well, so that's a different thing. Okay, so this is something recently. Amazon announced plans to cut approximately 14,000 corporate jobs, representing about 4% of its corporate workforce, as part of a restructuring effort to operate more efficiently and invest in strategic areas like AI. The company cited goals of reducing bureaucracy, removing management layers, and shifting resources towards high-priority initiatives. Most affected employees will be given 90 days to find new roles internally, with severance packages and
So they can
support
stay
offered
internally.
to those who do not offer to transition within the company.
So they can stay internally.
They can, if they can find a new role,
Wow.
which may be in a warehouse. But so this kind of gets back to this, so there are these other stories out that are just talking about how AI is really coming after a lot of these these corporate jobs that can be easily reproduced.
Right. Right.
So like, it's great being an artist, but there's so many people who want to get into graphic design.
Wow.
Like, graphic design has been, at least for 20, 25 years, it's been needed. It's been very needed, especially for digital media and stuff. But it's always been kind of, not so lucrative job.
Right.
And now, like your bottle right here on the screen.
Yeah. Was
it's
created
like, in the old days, if
in
you wanted something,
3 minutes.
you'd have to go like steal something off the internet, or you'd have to like find a dingy bottle, and stage it, get a photographer, do all this work, and now boom, within like
and
about
this I
15
told
seconds,
put on a
it's
beach
out.
with
Right?
surf
Uh,
that made the bottle look dingy, and this is what I got.
Right, and it's nice that it's focused on the foreground, the background is blurred out.
Although the only thing is, the message probably wouldn't be standing in the middle of it, but still,
Yeah, I guess
that
gravitationally,
kind of throws everything off. But
right?
you get the point, right?
Looks like nice parchment in there though.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
So if you're like this customer service person, or even possibly middle management. I mean, I've never looked at it at these different levels, but that's why it's so important to have a skill. If you're an engineer, if you're a programmer, a computer engineer, these skills. People say, well, programming is going to go away. Programming can become more efficient, but you still need to know, because at the end of the day, you could say, give me this program. It's going to need to be adjusted, so you still need to program, and you still can bring your value to the table. And if you know how to operate it, you can operate it efficiently, and bring it to the business. Bring it to your company. If you're the guy who's answering the phone and taking sales orders, or just helping with customer service, obviously, companies have tried to do this stuff forever.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's going to be AI. I mean, they have AI telemarketing. I get AI spam all the time.
All the time.
And so,
and I'll even ask it if you're AI. And it's like, no, I'm a real person,
Right.
And for damn sure it's not a real person.
Right. And
But
say,
yeah.
Yodel for me.
Yeah.
Or something. It's like,
Create a bottle with a note in it.
I know. I say, I think you're a scammer. Yesterday, I think I got one. Because every once in a while I'll be like, well, maybe this is a call that I can use. And so it's like, hi. And they're trying to sell me Medicare as if I qualify for Medicare.
I got that one yesterday too. I don't know. A lot of Medicare scam.
And then I'll say, I'm dead. Well, I'm just called to see if you qualify. Do you currently have I'm 18 years old. Well, I'm just calling to see if you have Medicare Part A or whatever.
Yeah, right.
And it's just like, it's like, that's the thing. Like you said, are you AI? Probably just reiterated.
It kicks through the answer that it's supposed to be programmed to say or whatever.
The one thing it does say is, when you say take me off your list, it hangs up. So.
Oh yeah, totally.
But still, it's like, we shouldn't be getting those calls, and that's really like evil usage of the technology. But
right.
So anyways, 14,000 is 4% of the workforce, but that's probably just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, but $25 an hour minimum wage also will push everyone to use it more instead of using humans.
And so hopefully, especially with some of these companies that can afford it, if you say, okay, we're eliminating your position, and maybe a company like Amazon or some of these big tech firms will say, but we want to be able to keep your value, so we want you to take these classes, and you can work into this role. And then you kind of thin out through attrition, and people retire it or whatever, and bring these new people in without causing the hardships. Obviously they're not required to do stuff like that, but if a person shows that they're a good employee, you just don't need their work anymore. I mean, you've been in the same position before, right? It's like, well, it's a good guy. I want him in a different role, though. And
You'll repurpose him. Yeah.
Right. And so,
or her.
So Amazon, along with that, this is what you were talking about. Amazon's long-term plans include automating up to 75% of its warehouse operations by 2033.
Which will streamline they're working at a 10% margin right now.
And so,
Like the lowest. I mean, really, when you think about 10% margin for a company is horrible.
And right. And so, and part of it, I think part of it's, Amazon talks about its culture where we want to make sure, I'm sure they get abused from their customer service policies just because they want to be like number one in customer service.
Sure.
And, which, they've been amazing for some of the issues I've had. But so they're talking about being able to not hire 600,000 additional warehouse workers despite expected sales growth. So, but, for the stuff these people are doing, between AI and robotics, it seems to make much more sense.
Yeah.
This is.
Long run, consider if you don't have some kind of technical know-how or some kind of expertise, you're going to get cut.
You need a trade. It's like being an electrician, be a plumber, and you're pretty
set.
AI will be your friend, actually, in a lot of ways. Or obviously, being an architect,
doctor, lawyer,
right, exactly.
Engineer, those jobs, not women's study of a third world country. That's not going to get you there.
And, there are obviously those types of, degrees that really have no place in the marketplace. But there are also jobs, if you look at some of the easier jobs or easier degrees that people go after, which, I remember people would get a psychology degree. And, it's like, well, you can't just get a bachelor's because there's no job for something like that. And, but in the business school, a marketing degree, it's, there's some, marketing degrees are always viewed as the easy ones.
Right.
But, do you really need it all that much? Or is it like a management degree or just the general business administration where you can use AI for management purposes and for marketing purposes. And you're kind of just wearing multiple hats because we don't need all these specialists because AI is making everything so much more efficient.
Oh, sure.
So,
right. And will be for the future.
Right. And so some of the other companies that are talking about reductions are, let's see. So we've got
UPS.
UPS is reducing its workforce, and Target is reducing about 1,800 corporate positions.
Right.
So
well, you look at what Elon Musk did with Twitter, right? He eliminated 50% of his workforce.
I think it's more than that.
Yeah.
There's so much fluff here.
I don't believe that there's a real good way to gauge how much you need in a technology type company like Twitter. It's hard to gauge that.
It is.
I guess that's a lot of feel and, making sure people are competent in their jobs and getting them done,
And so as AI moves in and pushes certain jobs out, that's where, just like computers in general, it's like computers came in, made things more efficient, but you needed a lot of people working computers. But in a lot of ways, between robotics, someone's got to build the robots. And it's not like we build this stuff and we're set there. We're always moving forward.
Right.
So you pick that expertise and I'm going to move robotics forward. I'm going to be specialized in robotics. Actually, I was talking to a guy the other day, and he's like, he's helped develop software for some of the most important medical devices in the world.
Okay.
A lot of them that you're familiar with. And he's talking about now they are starting to bring in AI for these diagnostic devices, which should definitely help physicians be accurate with their diagnoses.
Sure.
Because, when you start dealing with physicians after you become a parent, you start realizing, as a young male, you don't go to the doctor. You got no idea. You just think these guys are working magic. But then once you start dealing with them, you say, well, this guy's got this perspective and opinion. this guy's got a different one, this lady's got a different one. And so it really depends on your background and your area of expertise. But with AI, you can be using these diagnostic tools that kind of look across the whole spectrum. Because a lot of times people will be like, they say, oh, I got this major disease, and even though I was in the hospital, I was in for something else, and so they didn't know anything about this or something. And so with AI diagnostics, they can take in the data and say, these are warning signs in different areas.
Yeah,
that,
right.
May be missed.
I mean, I think that'll definitely further our medical,
right.
technology and our medical expertise, because you'll be able to get a wider breadth of what's going on for that typical disease or whatever, or even atypical disease.
Right, exactly.
So,
well, that's all I've got.
yeah, that sounds like a show to me.
Right.
Yeah.
Monkeys.
Tune in, subscribe, comment, tell Chris you don't like him,
and have a good day.
Bye.